Hey, what's up guys? Welcome to part 4 of the Gears Analysis series. Today we're going to talk about the Infantry Blast setup. I have done already the range, the cab one, as well as the mix one. First thing you're going to notice, I'm on Pro Outlander, so I'm not on 2 Outlander this time around. The reason for that is that this account is very focused on infantry, so I think it's a better way to show you what I've done on this account, but the reasoning stays the same. Whenever I want to use infantry, a blast for a darkness, for guild showdown and stuff like that. So basically, let's get right into it. Let's go and watch the let's go and look at the cabinet like I did on all the other ones, and we'll start with the main end. There's really there's really 2 pieces of gear that are really good for infantry. We're also not gonna talk about champion since this is for free to play. So the best one in this slot would be the Ghastly Cane with 45 attack, 14 HP and 21% defense. It is better than the Terror Lash by a long shot, just with the attack. The defense is also better, and it also has some infantry HP. So it's way better than the Terror Lash. It's also way better than another option that I've seen people use. I'm not a big fan of Kraken's Anchor because it is defense and only attack, and it's basically using pearls that I rarely suggest to do level 55. There's also the Malicious Saw, which is not that bad. Malicious Saw is about on par as the Terror Lash. In fact, if I look at this with the defense, it's roughly the same, to be honest. But once again, I would not suggest doing that. The Terror Lash is a too rare. Basically, the reason why I don't suggest doing these Terror Lash and the Malicious Saw, as well as Kraken's Anchor, it's because it's stealing rares from other pieces of gear that are way better in their respective sets. So basically, the Ghastly Cane sadly is very hard to level up to a decent level because it's a newer monster and it costs 7 rares. So one thing that I always suggest is like, you can start working on this for the future. This is the best in slot for the main end for infantry, but using a Skull Crusher with mixed jewels from your mix is also a pretty good idea. So let's say you add a Mythic Skull Crusher with 20% infantry attack jewel. That would be 48% attack combined with 35% defense. Definitely would be something you would think about. The Greatsword only gives attack. Sure, the difference is that you don't get the defense, but it's basically the same reasoning. The Skull Crusher for infantry is a little bit better than the Greatsword, but not that much. But it's the same thing. So when you look at this, using any of these with mixed jewels is a pretty good thing to do. And once you get to a certain level, you might start using, let's say, Ghastly Cane, just like I'm doing on this account. I am using a Ghastly Cane. It's purple. I've definitely put some work into it to get to that level. My set is jewel for blast, not for mix. So I've always suggested that you guys jewel for mix first and then go for blast. I decided on this account to jewel for blast. So this is why you're seeing a bunch of gold defense jewels. So this is the reason why I chose that. Otherwise, I would probably have used a Skull Crusher even at purple with a legendary infantry attack jewel. Now, if you go to the helmet, so at the helmet level, there's really not many options. There's really the Beast Helm. Sadly, this is the only thing that you should use for infantry. This is really good for infantry because of the attack and the HP, but there's really nothing else. if you don't build the Beast Elm, you're going to be stuck using, let's say, a Bumble Elm with mixed jewels in there, and you're only going to get your infantry jewels attack as well as the army HP, which for infantry would be the same thing, would be 28% HP. There's really nothing else I would suggest. The Serpent Elf is pretty good. It's really good. It's really hard to level up because those Dune cores are really hard to get. So it is pretty good. It would be the best in slot, in fact, but it's just very hard to level up. So you can see 42 and 21, that's the same thing. 42 and 21. So the extra would be the defense. So you would get 35% defense, and it would make it better than the Beast Elm, but it's very hard to level up. There's nothing else here I would suggest. I don't think there's also a level 60 that I can level up. So basically, guys, at this point, if you have not done the Beast Elm, my suggestion is go with a Bumble Elm with your mixed jewel, and then in the future, either work on the Serpent Elm or the Beast Elm. But like I said, the Beast Elm is probably the easiest to level up. Next up would be the armor. The armor is really, the Terror Shield is top tier for infantry. I know some people have a underlevel Terror Shield because they decide to do the vials, which I don't think it's a great idea, as well as the Terror Lash, but is the best piece in slot. Other people will say, well, I don't really need this because I'm going to use the Firewall Plate, which provides both infantry attack as well as army HP, so it means that it provides infantry HP, which 28 and 21 is pretty good, considering the fact that most people in their Firewall Plate, they will have 20% attack from a legendary jewel, so they will jewel their mix before their blast set. But later down the road, the Terror Shield is better, but it's not a bad idea to use your Firewall Plates while you have jewels in them, and you don't have jewels in your Terror Shield. Aside from that, there's really nothing else, I believe. Please don't build the Hedonic Cuirass. That's a waste. Even the Frostwing armor, also a waste. The Winter Parka is not that bad, but seriously, please don't put this to Mythic. The only reason you want to build this is if you already have the Winter Mitts. The Winter Mitts are just that good, but at the end of the day, by the time that you're able to get a gold Winter Parka, after you've done a mythic Winter Mitts, you're already gonna have a decent Firewall Plate or Terror Shield. So I would not go for the Winter Parka. There's really no other options that are decent. Let's look at, no, there's nothing at level 60. So definitely, guys, it's gonna be like a toss-up between a Firewall Plate with mixed jewel or a Terror Shield. But late game, it's gonna be the Terror Shield. This is why I have this in my blast set. So this is what it looks like. Next up on the legs. Okay, and once again, Champions Friday is pretty good. Lots of people free to play will forge one piece of champion, and that's gonna be the Champion Stride. It is a great piece. So, but if you don't build that, then there's really two choices. Storm Tasset and Dragon's Talon. The Storm Tasset is definitely better for infantry. Obviously, you look at 42 attack, 14 defense, 28 defense and 14 HP compared to 28 attack and 21 HP. So definitely for both for mix and for infantry, the Storm Tasset is better than the Dragon's Talon. There's really nothing that I suggest to build from the Storm Tasset, from the Tidal Titan set, so you should use this definitely for your infantry set. Aside from that, well, like even let's say for instance you have a purple Storm Tasset and a gold Talon. So let's look at the difference. We're talking about 19% to 20%, so slightly better on the attack. The HP is a lot better by 9%, but then you get 13% defense. So I would argue that a gold Dragon's Talon would be better than a Storm Tasset. So it could be something that you use like while this is one grade above. But we're talking about jeweling and rejeweling. It can be costly for free to play. Lastly, there's really nothing else you want to do as far as infantry. Let's look at the level 60. What about the blizzard pants? It's cabin range, so that's not it. So there's nothing really. It's gonna be it's like it's always gonna be for mix and for infantry. It's always gonna be either storm asset or dragon stallion. Dragon stallion is like the third choice, and the first choice would be the champion stride. If you are going for champion, that's the only place where I'm going to talk about champion, because it's a five rare, so it's easy to do, and even at gold, I believe that this is better. So we're talking about 50% attack and 22% HP compared to 42% attack and 14 HP in the defense. So yeah, at gold, the champion stride is better for infantry blast than the storm asset. So the only piece of equipment you should consider in the legs. On the offhand, all right, offhand is really bad. So the Eerie Lantern is top tier when we're talking about non-champion. Even I don't really like those champions because they only give like attack and defense, no HP. So the Eerie Lantern is top tier over here, but it's really hard to level up. It is 7 rare from the cottage drawer, very hard to level up. Spirit Axe, it's not that great. It only has attack and defense, so basically worse than the Eerie Lantern. Same thing, well, is it same thing? The Venom Blade with 35 and 14 is basically worse than that because you get more attack and also defense from the Eerie Lantern. But once again, these are very hard to level up. The Eerie Lantern is the easiest one and it's the best one. So I would say forget about Spirit Axe and Venom Blade. These are really for mix. They're the way that they're set up. And then Venom Blade is better than the Spirit Axe, but we're talking about 15. And we're talking about better for mix. For infantry, this is definitely Eerie Lantern. I would ignore these. Like for free to play, Dark Ages is not bad. We're talking about 28% attack, but basically it's 1 rare. It's easy to do, but I would still not suggest doing that because you can get something better than this. Basically every rare you put on the Dark Ages is something that you cannot put on the Skull Crusher or the Burning Scrolls. Another option that people sometimes forget is that the Winter Myths provides very interesting things. So it provides for infantry at mythic level 80 defense. I've always said that that defense is about a 1 to 10 ratio. So 80 defense for me is about 8% attack. And then 35% HP, that's pretty good. Usually in your Winter Myths, that is a mixed piece of gear, you're gonna have 1 infantry jewel. So to me, when I got this at Mythic, that's 28% attack and 35% HP. So basically I need to look at what point can I get this to be better? And it's it's around, it's here. This needs to be mythic with no jewels to beat this at mythic with 1 infantry attack jewel. So obviously when you get there to mythic with 1 infantry jewel and then everything has been done on your mix set, you're gonna start using some monster jewels in there. So there is a big case to be made that this at purple with other type of jewel can beat the without the 20% attack infantry jewel. But let's say you use like an HP jewel or an attack and defense jewel, you can probably beat the Winter Myths with this at purple. But once again, guys, it's really hard to level up. I am still gonna use this. What do I have in my setup here? I have a gold Winter Myths. I really don't have anything right now that I can use to replace it, so it's gonna be this for a while. Like I'm showing, I'm going for the Ghastly Cane, even though I had this already leveled up. I have some other options, but there's never going to be another option for me at this point. So that's about it for the Offhand. It's not a bad option to use your mixed piece of gear, considering you should have some jewels in there, some attack jewels. But once again, Eerie Lantern's the best one, and then these guys are way too expensive, but they're still good, but they're not as good as the Eerie Lantern. So if you are going for the best in slot, that'd be the Eerie Lantern. Let's go to the let's go back now to the accessories. So obviously the best will probably be the cups at 35% attack and 21% HP. Let's go look at other options here. The Book of the Dead is equal. Okay, so the Book of the Dead is equal to a cup. The difference is that the Book of the Dead is more expensive. We're talking about 18 rares, and it's very hard to get those Rotten Blood. Free to play. What else can we have here? Forget about Frostwing Breath, it's bad. Forget, I know some people will use the Burning Scroll, but really, Burning Scroll is good for mix, but it's not good for blast. We're talking about 12% attack and 12% HP at Mythic for, I know it's army, but for infantry it's only this. So it's not that great. The Terra Vial is decent, but it's really not that great. It's only one rare, so it's easy to do, but every rare you put there is a rare that you are not using on your Terra Shield. And remember guys, Terra Shield is the best in slot for infantry. So when you look at this, 22% attack, 7% HP, and 11% defense. Let's compare that to a purple cup. So it is a little bit better than a purple cup. A little bit better. Very slightly. Oh no, it's not. Is it? It's slightly better or about on par. A purple cup is going to cost you about 3 and something rare, and a purple and a mythic vial is going to cost you at least like 2 1/4 rare. So it's a big investment for something that you're only going to use for infantry. I would not go with Terra Vial by any means, especially in a mix set. But on an infantry set, it's kind of decent. If you're free to play, you don't have the luxury of having several pieces of gear with jewels in them. So usually, even a purple cup properly jeweled, you're gonna have like a 20% attack or a 12% attack jewels in there. So getting this at Mythic, to me, it's not worth us. Some of those under level 60, I don't think they're worth it. Is there something else also that you could consider? No, not for this. This is cab and range. Personally, the other thing also I would consider, and I'm using it, is the Blight Ring because, well, I got one at purple, but if you look at this, 21% defense, 21% HP. You add on top of that, because it's on your mix set, you add 20% attack from your from a legendary infantry jewel, which makes this pretty good. This jewel with mix is a great thing that you can use for any of the blasts. In fact, I use the Blight Ring for all my blasts as a third accessory. Once again, I know a lot of people will stick to this because it's for blast, but it's a big it's an investment because it means your Terra Shield is going to be under leveled, and you can definitely get something good from purple cups, from gold Blight Ring and stuff like that. So this is why I use a combination of 2 cups and 1 ring. As you can see, I got a gold ring. What else do I have that I could use? Not really. I got a blue Book of the Dead, but I use it for my cav. And I don't even have a vial because I believe that this is pretty good for infantry and for range, for both of them. So once again, it's a solution to use mixed piece of gear in your blast set. Now all of this is definitely, well, this is blast, this is blast, this is blast, this is mix, but I have jeweled it for blast. This is mix, but I've jeweled it for infantry blast, and these are all mixed, but they're jeweled for blast on this account. I don't suggest doing that, guys. Make sure you have a decent mix set, but this account, let's just say I use my blast a lot more than my mix set. Okay, so next up we're gonna talk about heroes and familiars like the other videos. So let's open a fake darkness and just look at what the heroes are in order. So the two best heroes for infantry are gonna be Demon Slayer and Oathkeeper. These guys are the best ones because they give you 30% attack and 50% HP, both of them. The third one would be Watcher, but Watcher is definitely a different kind of beast. It gives you 20% attack and 25% HP. The fourth and fifth one would be, in that case, at basically the same. They're valued the same. They'd be Soul Forger with 30% attack, and lastly Sea Squire with again 30% attack. They're the same, guys. And then the other ones would be Scarlet Bolt with 30% defense, and Shade with 50% defense. Sure, it gives you some wall defense, but this is not really something that we look at, that we are interested in. Now, if you don't have Watcher, what should you send? Should you send, you're going to send these 4 heroes for sure. Now, what's the fifth one you want to send? Assume that one of them is my leader, so you don't want to send, so basically what's the choice? You can send a 50% defense, or you can send one of the army attack hero, like Rose Knight at 20% army attack, which means 20% infantry attack. And you can also send Bombing Goblin, which gives also 20% army attack. So any of those would be good. So you have your 4 infantry hero and your 5th hero. Remember that the 5th hero doesn't have to be a different kind. It just needs to provide the best stats. So if you have Watcher, I will remove this guy. If you have Watcher, I think this is the best thing you could do. Basically, like I said, the 2 best ones, you have Watcher, 2 best ones plus Watcher, and then you would take one of the 2, and then the decision you have to ask yourself is 30% attack better than 20% army attack? For a blast, yes. So if you have Watcher, this is the setup you should send. Now, if you also have Chaos Dragon, then what you're going to do, you're going to remove one of the 2. It does not matter. Sea Squire or Soul Forger does not matter. But if you have Chaos Dragon, you would want to send Chaos Dragon. It is arguably, where's my Chaos Dragon? Oh, it's because it's not gold on this account. But if it was gold, I would get 25% attack and 30% defense. Now, it is arguably about the same because that 30% defense probably is worth like 3% attack. So basically, you're talking about 28% attack. So at this point, I don't think it really matters if you send 5 infantry hero or 4 infantry hero and Chaos Dragon at gold. Obviously, at purple, never send a purple hero whenever you have some gold heroes. So, but if you have Watcher, this is the setup I would send. Now, as far as the familiars, I would send, as always, the first one you should unlock are the Arty Feast and Drown Out. Arty Feast, the first one to increase your army HP because it's good for any troop type. So it's good for blast, but it's good for mixed. And same thing with this. This is good because whatever the enemy is sending against you, they're gonna have their HP reduced by 15%. And then Griffin is also really good. It should be the one that you unlock first with your Brilliant Orb. It's very good for blast. It's not that great for mix for your defense. Now, once you've done that, my suggestion is work on one of your stacking familiars. So the first one you remove would be Drown Out because it's the least valuable one. You would put in this guy, Gemming Gremlin with the Fear Spike. This is the stacking one for infantry. Now, once you've done that, should do it for every blast. So you should do the Trick Star for range, and then the the Goblin for Cav. And once you've done that, you can start working on the 15% stat. That's where you would remove the Artifice for, I don't know what's the name of this guy, but it gives 15% attack. 15% attack on a blast is better than 15% HP. And lastly, once you get your Voodoo Shaman and these kind of familiars, so Shaman, Magus, and Noceros, so for infantry, it's the, not Voodoo Shaman, Mole Shaman, you would want to replace this guy, the 15%, with this one. Now, I don't want to replace, at level 4, these boosts for only 4.2 seconds, they're not worth it. So I believe it's at 6 or 7 that it becomes better that you would want to swap at this time. This is what I'm sending. I'm not sending this guy, but I will send him once I get into level 6 or 7. I believe it's 6 or 7, definitely 7, I know for sure. I'm going to switch it. Now, if you have more slots, obviously it's the same reasoning. You always want to send the best one. And lastly, as far as the familiars are concerned, let's look at the Pact 5. I know some people will do the Helldrider because they work on every troop type. And also Tempestite is also something that people do, which this one is on, it's a red orb, so you can work on the 2 without stealing orbs from one another. But when you talk about really Pact 5, so for infantry, there's 2 of them. There's Bon Appetit, and then there's UE Ups. Yes, UE Ups. I prefer to go with the what we call the 4%, the ones that proc at 4%, because they're good offensively and defensively. Now the other ones at 8%, like UE Ups in that case, not a big fan. I'm not saying not to unlock their Elder and the skills, but I'm talking about the army talent. This one at 8% will activate when you attack for sure, but there's a good chance it will not activate if you get rallied. Especially for me, if you look at this troop comp, I do have close to 30 million, so 8% means 2.4 million. So if I lose 2.4 million, that means that there's a lot of troops. It's probably at the end of the battle that this will activate, and at that point I've killed most of their troops, so I would not suggest going for the UE Ups, kind of the 8%, because at the end of the battle, there's no guarantee that it will work 5 times. Maybe it's gonna work 1 or 2 times before the battle ends. So I would not go for that. I would go for the Bon Appetit. And same thing with the other ones. If you watch the other videos, I've suggested Gargantua and Blackwing for free to play, not for pay to play. Alright guys, that's about it for this video. Let me know in the comments below what you think about this analysis. What are you doing? Are you focusing your mix? Are you focusing your blast first? How does your infantry blast set look like? Alright guys, thanks for watching, and I'll see you later.